Nolan had always been curious about space. After years of working on Earth, he finally saved enough money to visit Dalvax 4, a famous trade station where many species met to sell rare things. The station was full of noise, lights, and smells. From many worlds, it was exciting but also a little confusing. As he walked through the crowded market halls, Nolan saw many strange items, glowing plants, strange machines, clothes made of shining threads. He enjoyed watching the different aliens selling their goods. Some had many arms, some had bright feathers, and some looked almost like humans, but with unusual eyes or skin colors. He stopped at a small shop that looked old and quiet. The sign was faded, and there were few customers inside. The shopkeeper was a tall insect-like being with large eyes. He did not speak much, but nodded as Nolan entered. Nolan's eyes fell on a necklace hanging on a small stand. It was simple, but beautiful. The chain was silver, and the pendant was a glowing blue gem. It gave off a soft light that warmed Nolan's hand when he touched it. Something about it felt special. How much? Nolan asked in the common language spoken in many parts of the galaxy. The shopkeeper pointed to a small number on a sign. 50 credits. Nolan thought it was not expensive for such a nice gift. He decided to buy it, thinking maybe it would be a good souvenir or a present for someone special someday. Later, as he walked through the busy market, he saw an alien woman sitting alone on a bench. She looked tired and worried. Her silver skin shined softly under the station lights, and her violet eyes looked sad. Nolan felt something and decided to talk to her. "Are you okay?" he asked gently. She looked up and smiled faintly. "I am lost. I do not know where to go." Nolan sat beside her. "I can help. Where are you from?" "My planet is called Thalrai," she said quietly. "I came here on business, but now I am confused about what to do." Nolan remembered the necklace in his pocket. Without thinking too much, he took it out and held it up. "Here," he said. "Take this. Maybe it will bring you luck." The woman's eyes grew wide when she saw the necklace. She took it slowly and touched the glowing gem. At that moment, the light from the pendant grew brighter. Nolan could see her breathing change. She looked surprised and a little afraid. "This necklace," she said softly, "it is not just a gift, it is a sign." Nolan looked at her, curious. "A sign of what?" She hesitated, but then said, "On Thalrai, this necklace means that someone is ready to form a sacred bond. It is part of our mating ritual. It is serious. It means a life partner is chosen." Nolan blinked. He did not understand fully, but felt the weight of her words. "I did not know," he said quickly. "I just wanted to help." She smiled gently. "I know. It is not your fault. But the ritual has begun." Nolan asked, "What will happen now?" She looked around nervously. "My people will know soon. The bond is linked to this necklace. When someone from another world gives it, it is very rare and important. The ritual will be expected to continue. Can it be stopped?" Nolan asked, feeling a mix of excitement and worry. "Not easily," she said. "It is part of who we are. We must follow tradition." Nolan wanted to understand more, but he could see she was nervous. Before he could ask again, a small ship landed nearby. A few people wearing formal clothes came out. "They are here for us," she said quietly. Nolan stood up. "Should I come with you?" She looked at him with surprise. "Are you sure?" He nodded. "If this is happening because of me, I want to help." They walked together to the ship and sighed. The air was cool and quiet. The crew treated Nolan with respect but spoke mostly to Scifi, the woman, on the way to Thalrai. Nolan learned more about her world. She told him Thalrai was a place where people valued trust and courage in choosing partners. The necklace was not just jewelry, it was a symbol that started a journey for two people. Nolan was nervous, but also curious. He had never expected a simple gift would change his life like this. Scifi looked at him and smiled softly. "You have entered something very old and sacred." He smiled back. "Then let's see where it leads." Nolan sat quietly inside the shuttle as it moved closer to Thalrai, Scifi's home planet. Outside the window, stars shone brightly, and strange green clouds of gas floated in space. The shuttle's soft hum filled the cabin. But Nolan's mind was loud with questions. He looked at Scifi. She was calm but nervous. Her violet eyes stared out the window, lost in thought. "What happens when we arrive?" Nolan asked gently. She took a deep breath. "The elders will meet us. They will decide what to do next. The ritual we began with. The necklace is ancient. It cannot be ignored." Nolan nodded, trying to understand the weight of her words. He still felt unsure about what this ritual meant, but he wanted to support her. "Why is this ritual so important?" he asked. Sailari smiled faintly. "It is how we choose who we trust for life. On Thalrai, bonds are not just feelings. They are promises of loyalty, support, and partnership. The necklace is a sign that this promise begins, and because I gave you the necklace, the bond started between us?" Nolan asked. She nodded. "Yes. It is very rare for a human to start it. Usually, it is between Thalrians only." Nolan smiled nervously. "I did not mean to start anything. I was just being kind. Kindness is powerful," Scifi said softly. "It changed many things." The shuttle landed smoothly on Thalrai's surface. Outside, the planet looked different from what Nolan expected. The sky was a soft purple, and tall trees with blue leaves stretched toward the clouds. Strange birds with silver feathers flew above the thick forest. As they walked through the city, Nolan noticed how peaceful everything seemed. Thalrian buildings were made of shining white stone with smooth curves. Many people looked at Scifi with respect, but also curiosity. They reached a large hall where the elders waited. These leaders were tall and wore robes decorated with symbols glowing faintly. Their eyes shone with wisdom and power. The head elder, a woman with long silver hair, stepped forward. Her voice was calm but firm. "Scifi, you have returned with a human. The necklace you bear signals a sacred bond. This bond must be honored and tested." Nolan looked around. He felt the eyes of many on him. He knew this was serious. "What kind of test?" he asked. The elder smiled slightly. "A trial of trust and strength. You and Scifi will face challenges together. You must prove your bond is true. If you succeed, the bond will be accepted. If not, it will be broken." Scifi took Nolan's hand gently. "I will stand with you." Nolan squeezed her hand back. He was not sure what lay ahead, but decided to face it with courage. Over the next days, they prepared for the trials. Nolan learned about Thalrian customs and the meaning behind many symbols. He practiced moving through the forest with Scifi, learning to understand the plants and animals. One morning, they entered the wild zone outside the city. It was a dense forest filled with unknown sounds and strange scents. This was the place of the first trial. "We must work together," Scifi said. "If we do not trust each other, we will fail." They walked carefully, using quiet steps. Suddenly, a strange creature appeared, a small, brightly colored animal with sharp claws and glowing eyes. It moved fast and looked dangerous. Nolan froze for a moment, but remembered something he had read about similar creatures on Earth. He picked up a nearby stick and held it out. "Stay behind me," he whispered. The creature stopped, curious but cautious. Nolan slowly moved the stick toward it, then gently pushed it away from Scifi. The creature hissed but did not attack. After a few tense moments, it ran off into the bushes. Scifi smiled. "You saved me. Your calm helped." Nolan felt proud but also relieved. "We make a good team." They continued deeper into the forest. Soon, they faced a river with fast water. The only way across was a fallen tree that was slippery and narrow. Scifi looked worried. "I am not sure I can cross alone." Nolan stepped forward. "I will go first and help you." He walked carefully on the tree. When he reached the middle, he stretched out his hand to Scifi. She took it and followed slowly. Together, they made it safely across. After many hours, they reached a small clearing. There, they found food from local plants and rested. This trial is about trust and courage. Scifi said, "We must show we can rely on each other." Nolan looked at her and smiled. "Thank you for trusting me." Scifi smiled back. "This is just the beginning." As the sun began to set on Thalrai, the two sat quietly, ready for the challenges ahead. Their bond, started by a simple necklace, was growing stronger with each step. The next morning on Thalrai, Nolan and Solaire woke to the soft light of the purple sky. The air was fresh, filled with the scent of blue flowers nearby. After a quiet breakfast, they prepared for the next phase of the trial. Sailai explained. This trial will test our minds and hearts. It is not about strength, but understanding each other. Nolan nodded, curious about what lay ahead. They followed a path deeper into the city's sacred grounds, where ancient ruins and glowing symbols covered the stones. As they entered a large circular room, the walls began to shift, revealing images and sounds. It was a place where memories and feelings could be shared without words. Solaire held Nolan's hand tightly. We must open our minds and share our true thoughts. Nolan closed his eyes and felt the gentle pulse of the necklace against his chest. Images of his life appeared, his childhood on Earth, his hopes for the future, and the kindness that led him to give her the necklace. Solaire saw these images clearly, feeling the emotions behind them. She was surprised by his simple but strong heart. Then, Solaire shared her memories growing up on Thalrai, learning the ways of her people, and the loneliness she sometimes felt. Nolan felt her feelings deeply, understanding her in a way words could not explain. After the shared visions ended, they opened their eyes. Both felt closer, connected by more than just the ritual. This is the heart of our people, Solaire said softly. To truly know and accept another. Nolan smiled. I feel honored to share this with you. Just then, the door to the room opened. Two elders entered, their faces calm but serious. You have passed the trial of understanding, one elder said. But outside, not all accept this bond. Nolan looked puzzled. What do you mean? The elder's voice lowered. Some believe a human cannot be part of our sacred ritual. They will test you both in other ways. Solaire nodded. There are whispers among the council. Some do not want this bond to continue. Nolan felt a mixture of pride and worry. He wanted to protect Solaire and honor their bond, but he knew challenges lay ahead. Later, as they walked through the city, Nolan noticed that some people stared at him with suspicion. Whispers followed them, but most were quiet. Solaire squeezed his hand. Do not mind them. This is new for all of us. They returned to Solaire's home, where she introduced Nolan to her family. Her parents were kind but cautious. They welcomed him but reminded Solaire of the seriousness of the bond. This is not just about love, her mother said. It is about the future of our people. Nolan promised to respect their traditions and protect Solaire. The following day, a new trial was announced, a test of courage. Nolan and Solaire would face a simulated danger, designed to see how they worked together under pressure. They entered a large arena filled with holographic danger storms, wild animals, and collapsing structures. The goal was to reach the center safely. At first, the dangers seemed real. Nolan used his quick thinking and earth knowledge to find safe paths. Solaire guided him with her knowledge of Thalrian nature. When a holographic beast appeared, they worked together to distract and avoid it. Solaire used a loud call, and Nolan threw a small rock to lead it away. As the trial continued, Nolan's calm helped Solaire stay focused. Solaire's quick instincts saved Nolan several times. They reached the center of the arena, where the elders awaited. Everyone clapped, impressed by their teamwork. The head elder smiled. You both have shown great courage and trust. The bond grows stronger. But as they left the arena, a shadow watched from a distance. A council member named Zarlin, who disliked humans and feared change. Xarun whispered to himself, this cannot continue. I will find a way to break this bond. Nolan did not know about Zarlin's plans, but he could feel the weight of eyes watching them. Sailari tried to keep his spirits high. We have come far. No matter what happens, we face it together. Nolan looked at her and smiled. Together. That night, under the stars of Thalrai, they sat quietly. The necklace glowed softly between them, a reminder of how a simple gift had started a journey neither expected. Days passed quickly on Thalrai, and Nolan and Solaire prepared for the next part of their journey. The bond that started with a simple necklace had grown stronger. They shared laughter, stories, and quiet moments under the soft purple skies. Yet, they both knew that not all was calm. The council member Zarlin watched from the shadows. His eyes burned with doubt and fear. To him, a human was an outsider, one who should never join their sacred ritual. He believed the bond was a mistake, something that could weaken Thalri's traditions. Determined to stop the bond, Zarlin spoke to other council members. Some agreed quietly, afraid of change. Others remained silent, unsure what to do. One evening, Zarlin sent a secret message to the elders. He proposed to challenge a special trial that would test Nolan's worthiness in a way no one expected. If Nolan failed, the bond could be ended forever. The elders, cautious but curious, agreed. The challenge would take place in the wild zone outside the city, the most dangerous place on Thal. REI. When Nolan and Scifi heard the news, they felt a mix of fear and determination. This will be difficult, Scifi said, but we must face it together. Nolan nodded. Whatever happens, I trust you. Early the next day, they entered the wild zone. The forest was thick and alive with sounds of creatures and rustling leaves. The air was heavy with the smell of earth and flowers. Their task was to find a rare plant called the moon blossom. It only grew in a hidden cave, guarded by natural traps and tricky paths. Nolan and Scifi moved carefully. The first test came quickly, a narrow path with sharp stones and slippery moss. Nolan helped Scifi keep her balance. She guided him through, warning of loose rocks. Deeper in the forest, they faced a sudden storm. Dark clouds rolled in, and heavy rain began to fall. The trees swayed, and thunder echoed. We must find shelter, Scifi said urgently. Nolan spotted a hollow tree nearby. They rushed inside, shaking and wet. Inside, the air was dry and warm. They shared stories too. Keep their spirits high. When the storm passed, they continued, but the challenge grew harder. A deep river blocked their way, its waters rushing fast. Nolan looked around. We can make a raft from the fallen branches, together. They built a small raft and carefully crossed the river. Scifi held on tight, trusting Nolan's skill. Finally, they found the cave entrance. It was dark and cold inside. The walls sparkled with crystals that reflected the light of their lamps. As they moved forward, the ground suddenly shifted. A trap! The floor beneath Scifi began to give way. Nolan acted fast. He grabbed a nearby vine and threw it to her. She caught it and held on tightly as he pulled her up. Thank you, she said. Breathless, I will always be here, Nolan replied. At the heart of the cave, the moon blossom grew. Its petals glowed softly like the moon's light. Scifi gently picked the flower and placed it in a small pouch. On their way out, they heard footsteps. Zarlin and some guards appeared, blocking their path. I do not think you belong here, Zarlin said coldly. This trial was meant to end your bond, human. Nolan stepped forward calmly. I do not want trouble. I only want to honor the bond I have with Scifi. Zarlin sneered. We shall see. He ordered his guards to capture Nolan. Scifi stood in front of him. You cannot do this. The bond is real. The guards hesitated, unsure what to do. At that moment, the elders arrived. Their presence was strong and commanding. Stop. The head elder said firmly. The trial was completed. Nolan and Scifi have shown courage, trust, and strength. The bond must be respected. Zarlin bowed his head but did not speak further. The elders escorted Nolan and Scifi back to the city, where many gathered to celebrate their success. That night, as they rested, Scifi looked at Nolan with gratitude. You saved me, and together we saved our bond. Nolan smiled. This journey has taught me much about your world and about trust. Scifi placed the glowing necklace between them. It is more than a gift now. It is a promise. They both knew the path ahead was still unknown, but they would face it together, stronger than before. After the Wild Zone trial, Nolan and Scifi returned to the city with a new sense of hope. The elders had accepted their bond, and many began to see the human in a different light, but not everyone was pleased. Zarlin, still bitter, decided to take another approach. If he could not break the bond by force, he would try to make Nolan fail in other ways. He planned to create situations that tested Nolan's patience and character. One day, Nolan and Scifi were invited to a formal gathering. The event was held in a grand hall, filled with leaders from many worlds. Nolan felt nervous, but ready to show who he was. As they entered, whispers filled the room. Some guests stared openly, others. To their surprise, Nolan noticed a group of aliens whispering and pointing. Scifi squeezed his hand. Ignore them, they do not understand. During the gathering, Zarlin approached with a polite but cold smile. Welcome, human. I hope you are ready for the next test. Nolan met Zarlin's gaze calmly. I am ready for anything. The test was simple in words but hard in practice. Nolan was to negotiate a small trade deal with another species while keeping his calm and respect. The other species was known to be difficult in talks, often pushing for unfair deals. Many had failed before. Nolan took a deep breath and began. He listened carefully, asking questions to understand their needs when they tried to push for more. He calmly explained human fairness and honesty. Some guests looked surprised. Nolan's quiet strength and clear words earned respect. Scifi watched proudly. You handled this well. After hours of discussion, the deal was made. It was fair and good for both sides. Single quotes. Lin frowned, but did not say anything. Later, Nolan and Scifi walked through the city streets. A young child approached them, holding a small flower. For you, the child said shyly to Scifi. Nolan smiled. See, many here are kind. Scifi nodded. Yes, the city is changing. But Zarlin was not done. He spread rumors that Nolan was only lucky, that his success was chance. He whispered that a human could never truly understand Thalrian ways. Nolan heard the rumors but chose to focus on Scifi and their bond. One evening, Scifi took Nolan to a quiet place near a glowing lake. The water shimmered under the stars. I want to show you something important, she said. She explained that on Thalrai, bonds were celebrated not just with rituals but with acts of care and respect. Scifi gently placed her hand over Nolan's heart. This bond is real because of what we feel and do for each other. Nolan looked at her and smiled. I want to learn everything about your people. They sat by the lake, sharing stories and dreams, but the challenges were not over. During a council meeting, Zarlin openly questioned Nolan's place in the ritual. How can a human be part of our sacred bond? He asked loudly. Our traditions must be protected. The room fell silent. Scifi stood up, her voice clear. This bond was not chosen lightly. Nolan has shown respect, courage, and kindness. These are the values we honor. Others nodded. In agreement. The head elder spoke last. The bond between Nolan and Scifi is accepted by the council. Those who oppose must learn to accept change. Zarlin bowed but said no more. Nolan felt the weight of responsibility, but also the strength of support. Scifi smiled at him. We faced the future together. Their journey was not finished, but the bond they shared was stronger than ever. Days passed on Thalrai, and Nolan and Scifi grew closer. Their bond was no longer just a ritual, it had become real. They shared quiet moments, watching the purple sunsets and learning about each other's worlds. But the galaxy was watching. News of their bond spread to other planets. Some were curious, some doubtful. Scifi's people began to see humans in a new light. They were not just outsiders, but beings capable of honor, courage, and kindness. One evening, the head elder called Nolan and Scifi to a special meeting. The room was filled with important leaders from different worlds. Your bond has brought change, the elder said. It shows that unity can come from the most unexpected places. Nolan listened carefully. He felt proud but humble. The elder continued, your journey is not just yours. It is a message to the galaxy that kindness and respect can build bridges. After the meeting, Nolan and Scifi walked through the city streets. They saw children playing, people smiling. The air was filled with hope. Scifi turned to Nolan. Do you feel the change? He nodded. Yes, it feels like we started something bigger than ourselves. But change always brings challenges. Zarlin, once a strong voice against them, had quieted but still watched closely. One night, as Nolan and Salieri walked near the glowing lake, they heard voices nearby. A small group spoke in low tones, worried about humans joining their society. Nolan stepped forward. "Why fear what you do not know?" The group was surprised but listened as Nolan spoke of his respect for Thalrai and his desire to learn. Salieri joined him. "Our bond shows that trust is possible." Slowly, the group's fears softened. Days later, Nolan received a message from Earth. His family and friends sent greetings and news. He felt homesick, but also happy to share his journey. Salieri comforted him. "Your heart belongs to both worlds now." The final part of the ritual was near. Nolan and Salieri would stand before the Great Council and decide if they wished to keep their bond forever. The day came. The Great Hall was filled with light and music. Many watched with hope and curiosity. Nolan took Salieri's hand. "No matter what happens, I'm grateful for this journey." Salieri smiled. "Me too." Before the council, they spoke openly. Salieri said, "This bond was unexpected, but it has changed me. I accept it with all my heart." Nolan added, "I do not fully understand all your ways, but I want to learn and share a future with you." The council listened and then gave their blessing. The necklace glowed brightly, a symbol of a new beginning. As the ceremony ended, Nolan and Salieri looked at each other with joy and hope. Their bond was more than ritual, it was a promise to face the future together. After the council's blessing, Nolan and Salieri felt a new hope. Their bond was no longer just a tradition, it was real and accepted by many. The necklace on Salieri's neck glowed softly, a symbol of their promise. Back on Dalvax 4, the trade station where it all began, stories of their journeys spread quickly. Many species talked about the human who had entered an ancient alien ritual and succeeded. Some were surprised, others curious. Nolan became a symbol of unity, a reminder that kindness and respect could cross any star. Salieri's people began welcoming humans in new ways. Trade increased, friendships grew. The bond between their worlds opened doors. One day, Nolan and Salieri stood together on a balcony overlooking Thalrai's shining city. The purple sky stretched endlessly, filled with stars. "Do you think our story will change the galaxy?" Nolan asked. Salieri smiled. "I believe it already has." They watched as young Thalrians played with children from other worlds. Laughter filled the air, a sound of hope and peace. Nolan thought about Earth and the people he loved. He knew his journey was only beginning. The galaxy was wide and full of mysteries. Salieri took his hand gently. "We will face them together." The necklace pulsed warmly. A silent promise between them. Far away, in a quiet corner of the market, on Dalvax 4, the insect-like merchant who sold the necklace smiled. He placed another glowing gem on the shelf. "Another journey begins," he whispered. And so, from a simple gift came a story of trust, courage, and a bond that united worlds.